Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Sox on Tap.
Tony, my first reaction is just, fuck yes, let's go.
Sox versus the Twins. That's where it all starts. It all starts taking care of business in-house in the Central Division.
That's right, I'm a meatball.
You got to bring that top button swag, baby.
It is always great to beat the Cubs.
And I'm a homer, so I always say they're gonna.
Dallas Keuchel Lamson got some beards that you should be afraid of.
What everybody said when he gets out there, it's me versus the other guy, and I'm going to beat him. So I just love that mentality. It's cool and fucking tough.
Steve, would you say that Tony is mad online?
I would definitely say that.
The White Sox winner. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Sox on Tap. I'm your boy Buzz. I'm joined by my dude Tony, aka Tony on Tap, and we're here to recap the Chicago White Sox loss to the Minnesota Twins 5-4. Before we do that, be sure you're going on tapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. Following us on Twitter at Sox on Tap, at On Tap Sportsnet. Anywhere you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to us. 5-star rating and review because that's cool and tough. And if you need any White Sox gear, check out Grandstand. They have a great White Sox and Chicago sports selection. You can follow them on socials at Grandstand Sox or visit grandstandsox.com. Tony, we lost 5-4 in depressing fashion. That's a bummer, pun intended.
Mm-hmm. Why does that tweet not get more likes when people tweet out that's a bummer? Because Johnny was on keyboard control. I've tweeted this before too. That's a bummer. I just feel like that play on words should be more well received. Maybe the air in the room was a little tense tonight, but I felt like that one was funny.
Oh yeah, no. Twitter's on fire right now, and there's a lot of stuff going around, and we're going to get into it for sure.
Yes, we are. I'll see you on the other side of that, man.
Yeah, a lot of opinions, a lot of upset fans, a lot of fans that are, have their opinions on why they think it's right or why it's wrong. But before that, we need to get into a most important part, and that's the White Sox end up losing tonight. That's what happens. That's what we're here to talk about. It's post-game. Sox end up losing 5-4 after holding the lead for much of the game. The Sox get started off early with everybody's favorite player, Jake Lamb, batting second in the lineup tonight. He goes yard. He goes yard in the first inning to right field. Sets the tone early for the White Sox after just a dominant performance on Monday night against the Twins. And on Lance Lynn's back tonight too. Lance Lynn, he goes 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts from Lance Lynn tonight. But he ran into a guy that was pretty hot tonight, and I think that's kind of an understatement. But 3 home runs in a game, no matter who you are, is pretty cool and tough. Unfortunately, we were on the opposite end of that. But Miguel Sano, out of the Twins' 9 hits, had 3 of them, and they were all long balls. So, the scoring in this game wasn't anything crazy. I mean, like I said, the Sox go up 1-0 really early. Guys getting on base, making things happen. Unfortunately, the runners in scoring position, which is something that you talk about quite often, and when the Sox don't capitalize on it, that kind of hurt us a little bit. The Sox end their scoring in the top of the 3rd inning, and that comes off of Jake Lamb being hit by the pitch. Moncada scores him on a double to right center, and then Grandal comes up with Moncada on second, and he homers to right field, and that'll get the Sox to 4-0, and they don't score again. Rest of the game.
Well, your offense can't go dormant, Buzz. I mean, that's been a problem with this team before. We've seen it happen. You get out of the gate a little bit hot. And, you brought up a few different points here. Number one, I just want to touch back on the Jake Lamb home run. That's so baseball right there. I know we say that's so White Sox so often, but that's so baseball. You get in the pregame looking at the lineup, and I think, again, kind of a read the room moment here. The Jake Lamb thing, hitting in the 2 spot today was somewhat subject, but we've seen Jake Lamb do this once before already. And here he is again tonight. Seems to be an early inning guy for Tony La Russa here early. Been able to put up 2 long balls now in that spot. Hey, David Bennett, thank you for joining us tonight. But you get that and you get that right out of the way, and then you run into Miguel Sano, the Miguel Sano party tonight, Buzz, and he was just another one of those classic White Sox killer moments. Anytime you go deep 3 times in one ball game, Buzz, you know exactly that your team is going to have a chance to win that ball game. We've seen Jose Abreu take over a ball game with home runs. We've seen other players throughout the MLB do this. Tonight was Miguel Sano, and it unfortunately came against the White Sox.
Yeah. I mean, he proved to be a thorn in Lance Lynn's side here tonight because 2 of those bombs came off of him, and another one comes off a bummer. And I kind of want to touch on that because, like I said, it was pretty dormant for the most part until more. We're just going to get right into it because fuck it, there's no avoiding it. I believe it was the 7th inning, Tony, if I'm correct, and I am correct. I'm wrong, actually.
What close.
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta find the fucking inning. But anyway, we get into. I'm sorry. God damn. I'm freaking out right now.
We drink when we have fun.
Yeah, exactly. It was the 7th thing. You get Duffy, who throws a pitch behind Yermin Mercedes here, okay? And obviously it's retaliation for Mercedes pimping that home run. And it's not really pimped it, but he fucking hit a home run, last on Monday night. I must keep saying last night, off a position player there, and pissed off the Twins, and it pissed off Tony La Russa, who said that he was trying to tell Yermin Mercedes to take the pitch. Mm-hmm. Now, this has been a very controversial topic.
This is a national topic here. Everybody's talking about this.
Well, right, and people have their opinions on it. And at the end of the day, you don't know baseball if you didn't think that something was going to transpire. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. I think that there was definitely that something was going to transpire there. Number one, if we go back yesterday when the White Sox were absolutely shellacking, I know you love that word, shellacking.
I love shellacking.
The Minnesota Twins, they put in a guy that throws 47-mile-an-hour meatballs right over the plate for a guy like Yermin Mercedes. And guess what Yermin Mercedes is going to do with it?
I gave him the same pitch fucking twice.
He gave everybody the same pitch. It was a lot, man. I mean, it was BP, less than BP. Like it was there for you. It's on a tee. You could not have thrown the ball slower and made it over home plate.
Right, and Yermin took it and he fucking nailed it, and I loved it. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm in this mindset this year, and I don't know if it's like the whole marketing campaign or just the personalities on this team, where I'm all into this. Like, fuck them up. Foot on the throat. Yeah. Just make them feel bad like they've made us feel bad for years. That's what I want.
Exactly. I'm 100% behind you on that. And I want to state that before we go further into this, because obviously we were gonna go here tonight. Right. I want to state that. Like, I am 100% behind stepping on any opponent's throat. It doesn't matter if it's the Minnesota Twins, the Kansas City Royals, the Chicago Cubs. It could be the Boston Red Sox. It could be the New York Yankees. It could be any fucking team that the White Sox play. I am all about stepping on the throat of your opponent and making them feel it a little bit. Right. I feel like you should. If you're playing a sport, you should do that. You should absolutely take every opportunity that you possibly can to score every single run, to do anything. Because the one thing about baseball, Buzz, is we've seen it before, where you've had a team that is up by a massive amount of runs take their foot off the gas, and in the bottom of the 9th inning, the wonderful thing about baseball is that there is no time limit to this game. There is no set ending. You have those 3 outs to work with, and you can work with 1 out and score 9 runs. You could score 100 runs. That is possible within the game of baseball for anything to happen as long as there is 1 out left. It might be improbable. It might be improbable, but that is one thing that I love about this game is that there is no time limit. And I can spin that into other things about, trying to shorten this game and trying to do other things with it to make it more appealing. But the one thing that I love about this game, unlike basketball, unlike hockey, unlike most other sports, is there is no time limit and there is no expiration on the clock. And that's what makes every out important. And that's what makes every at bat important. And I am all for scoring every run that you possibly can in a baseball game. Let me make that very clear here.
Oh, there you go. You made it clear. I mean, and that's the thing is like I ran through the scoring for the Sox so fast because getting into this is what's going to overshadow this game. You're not going to talk about losing this game. You're going to talk about what transpired in the game, and then you're going to talk about the lead up to the game and possibly what the aftermath is going to look like. And today, whether or not, I mean, we're in White Sox Twitter. We like what I like White Sox Twitter. I like being on Twitter. I like getting my news. I like interacting with fans. Sometimes it gets a little fucking hectic for my taste just because I'm all that smoke. I just keep that same energy kind of thing with me. It's stuff kind of.
You're the moon child, man. You want the good juju.
Right. So obviously where I'm at is, I put out a tweet earlier because, one of those accounts, and he's always been nice to me, and I shout him out real quick, not Steve Cishek guy. He's had some things right. He's had some things that have been, a little under level or on level, whatever. I mean, he seems to be a nice person. So let me say that first. But he put out a tweet early this morning, and as I was at the office, I saw it, and I'm like, and I kind of figured that something was whether it was going to be more comments made, but about the situation in general. But he had said that there was frustration within the clubhouse on Tony La Russa's end about Yermin Mercedes doing that and playing the game the right way, and that he will not do that again. Tony La Russa called Yermin Mercedes clueless, and that he will have a clue moving forward. And Yermin Mercedes, before Tony La Russa had said that, says, I'm Yermin, I'm going to keep playing the way that I play. Mm-hmm. Now, where I kind of look at this as a 28-year-old rookie, he's not far off from you and I in age, who's really breaking in, leading the MLB in batting average, who's made quite the name for himself nationally. We've known about Yermin Mercedes just because we take these deep dives into what was coming up at the time, because there was nothing else to fucking talk about besides prospects. And I will say that I understand the era Tony La Russa comes from, and where his career gained relevancy and where he was successful was in a different kind of mindset and game than it is today, obviously. And you heard on the post-game show as we were talking about right before we went on air with Chuck, Frank, and Ozzy, the different opinions that these guys can have and their takes on it. I don't think he did anything wrong because I look at this team and I look at the personalities and I'm like, these guys want to fucking win and they want to. And this is something we've talked about on this show and other people, not even just us, any other fucking show has talked about the mindsets of coming out and being like, we're going to kick your ass. Like Tim Anderson, we want to come out here and whoop these motherfuckers. Lucas Giolito, we want to step on their throats. Like these kind of things. You're just kind of getting different vibes between player to between manager. Now, I've seen a lot today of people comparing 9-to-5s, as relatable to baseball when it comes to your manager. And I guess you could do that to a certain extent, but at the same time, it's fucking different. And I think we should all acknowledge that a little bit. I don't want to see a disconnect between the clubhouse and Tony any more than we've had to hear about before, because quite frankly, Tony, it's fucking tiring. It's just fucking tiring.
So here's just a few things just based off of that. Number one, Tony La Russa does come from a different era. We're not gonna dispute that. Tony La Russa comes from a different era of baseball. That I also don't think that should invalidate his knowledge or his opinions on the game as comparative to what we see from White Sox Twitter. And I'll be the first to acknowledge that myself, I'm in no shape, form, or can manage a Major League Baseball team and the personalities and everything that goes with it. Now, was the Tony La Russa hire a favorable opinion amongst White Sox Twitter or White Sox fans in general. I think that that's up for debate. And there's very vocal people that did not want him here from the get-go. And one of the reasons behind that was because of, Tony La Russa being quote unquote out of touch, I think is the general statement that you want to make,
or
old school. One of the general statements that you could make about Tony La Russa. And this was evident with, and I saw that the Danny Parkins retweet today of Tony La Russa's statements about Fernando Tatis hitting the grand slam when his team was up, and then Tim Anderson's thoughts on this. And this is a very prominent situation in baseball, right? This is a very prominent situation in baseball right now because you've got Tim Anderson, who's a young leader on this team, and I call him a young leader because I truly believe that Jose Abreu is the driving force behind this. And if you think that Tim Anderson has more pull than Jose Abreu on this team, I think you're a little bit wrong. You're not far off, but you're a little bit wrong. I think this is still Jose Abreu's team. Tim Anderson is not the leader of it. I think that Jose Abreu has a lot of pull over some of the core pieces of this roster, and Yohan Moncada, Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert, that they may not be on the field right now, but a lot of this core was brought in here behind the back of Jose Abreu, who is, again, you can go back to Jerry's guy, and we know how we all feel about Jerry. That's a touchy subject. But this is Jose Abreu's team still right now, at least in my opinion. I think that that's still up for debate, and that's a fair debate. We can have it. But if you go back to this, Tony La Russa's opinions still are not invalidated just by the sense that he's out of touch. I think that this was just a hot topic. And here we are crossing this bridge as White Sox fans for the first time, where you say, here's new school baseball versus old school baseball. And where I say that I agree with you in the sense that managing a baseball team at the professional level is a little bit different than your 9-to-5, is because your 9-to-5 isn't on display for the public world to dissect each and every move you make. This is not the first time a subordinate or an employee or somebody that works underneath a leader has had a disagreement with their boss in their takes. I'm sure you've worked for people that you don't agree with, Buzz. I'm sure I sure as hell have. I've had times during my career, and I think most people who listen to this show will have had times in their career where they've disagreed with their boss, but it didn't mean that they hated them or, they didn't, lose the voice of their manager. I want to go back just a few weeks ago here, and you have Jose Abreu and Tim Anderson publicly backing La Russa on multiple occasions on certain topics and aspects. And that kind of gets forgotten as soon as we cross this first bridge where there's really a polarization of two trains of thought when it comes to this game of baseball. And I think it's okay. I think that it's okay for Tim Anderson and Evan Marshall or Lucas Giolito, for some of these guys to disagree with Tony La Russa's aspect and the way he thinks about the game. I think it's okay for them to disagree with that. But I also think it doesn't mean that he's lost the clubhouse. We have to look at some of the facts here, Buzz. And if we take some of the facts into account, you're a first place baseball team. You are on top of the league in almost every single category that matters right now, wins being number one, with a manager at the helm of a team that has been decimated by injuries. If we take Tony La Russa out and some of the preconceived notions that we went into this with, which were negative, I think as a whole, if we evaluate White Sox Twitter, if you took a poll the day that Tony La Russa was hired and said, do you favor this decision? I would say the majority would say no. So if we're going into this with a negative connotation on Tony La Russa, and you put this first bridge that we have to cross together as White Sox fans, and you take everybody and you go across that bridge, there's a ton of people who are jumping in the fucking water and saying, I don't want Tony La Russa to manage this team because they didn't from day one, number one, and we're going to disagree with this. I think if we really evaluate some of the things that have gone on, we still haven't had a player come out to the media and say, I disagree specifically, explicitly with Tony La Russa's decision here. I am 100% out on him. Outside of Twitter rumors that we've seen from non-verified accounts, and I'm kind of in Johnny Nani's camp here. If it's not coming from verified true sources and right there in front of your face, and I'll eat my words if it does happen. If Tim Anderson comes out to the media tomorrow and says this team is lost with Tony La Russa as the manager, I will respect that, because I want nothing more than this team to win every single game. I'll respect that. If we really have lost them, if Tony's lost the team and it is a problem going forward, I think that's going to get voiced, and it's going to get voiced to the right people, because I don't think that the White Sox are as stupid as people make them out to be. Yes, they can make some boneheaded decisions, and yes, things can be said to the media that can be construed, but all we're going off of right now is a couple of Twitter likes from guys who are supporting their teammate. Yes, you can disagree with your manager and agree with the fact that Yermin Mercedes can hit that bomb and step on the Minnesota Twins' throats. But at the same point in time, I think we've blown this completely out of fucking proportion to the point where we want to see Tony La Russa fired. That's the groupthink mentality right now, is that anytime we have any dispute, whether it's a loss or a blown call, or the players don't agree with the way that he thinks about the game, we are going to try and exploit it. We are going to, as a society, try and create the most chaos to get the guy that they didn't, or people did not want in there in the first place. So I think that there's some ammunition on both sides here. Is Tony La Russa right? No, he's not. And I'll say that right. That's my personal opinion. He's not right. But that doesn't make him the wrong man to lead this team. And if you go back and you look at the facts right now, you're a first-place baseball team managed by Tony La Russa with two of your core guys on the shelf and some of your bench depth on the shelf. Let's give him a little bit more room to work with here. Is he out of touch on this subject? Completely. That's fine. That's a separate argument than is he the right man to lead this team? Because as of right now, the results on the field look pretty good.
Oh, and that's fair. So my whole thing with this is I'm fucking sick and tired of the La Russa narrative consistently. And what I mean by that is, in a year where we're up and we're in first place and we're winning, that'll be the news. But time and time again, it gets overshadowed by a decision that Tony La Russa makes, whether that's on the field or something he says, or whether that's this particular circumstance, like you said, the new school versus old school baseball thought. And it's fucking tiring as a White Sox fan. Am I calling for his job? I'm not calling for his fucking job, but I'll tell you something right now. Handle the shit behind closed doors, and don't say one of your fucking players are clueless. Handle the shit behind closed doors. Pull the fucking Joe Girardi route. Shut the fuck up. Get it behind closed doors so we don't have this narrative that White Sox, this should just be a loss. It should just be a loss. It shouldn't be more than that. Where we have to, because I'm not going to fucking hear if I decide to turn on the radio tomorrow, okay? I'm not going to hear about how the White Sox lost. I'm going to hear about this. And it's just a constant fucking reminder every time something goes wrong, the Sox success gets overshadowed by fucking controversy. And it's annoying.
So, but here's the thing that we don't know. And this is where I go with some of this. And here's what we don't know. If Tony La Russa and Yermin Mercedes are completely fine, they talked it out. He said, hey, I don't like that. And Yermin Mercedes says, Yermin Mercedes and Tim Anderson, and they all know. I mean, the clubhouse has seemed pretty unified on everything. And if the unification is on hating Tony La Russa, so be it. If that's the driving force that drives them to win the World Series, so be it. It might be. Who the fuck knows what actually goes on in these guys' minds? You can go out to the media and have a strategy of how you want to publicly, do things. Is it the right way for them to be in this position right now? No, I absolutely agree with you. Do I want to hear about Tony La Russa and unwritten rules of baseball? And, is this guy against this guy? Is that a meeting, a problem in the clubhouse again? Who the fuck knows what's actually really going on behind closed doors here in this? I don't know, and I can't comment on it, Buzz. And I'm not going to sit here and speculate and say that, X players against X player or X players against the manager and all this other stuff. if we don't know, we can sit here and try and make assumptions. We can sit here and look at things based on facts that have come out to the media. We can go down this road all day and drive ourselves nuts. There's a million possibilities from the butterfly effect and therefore down onto. You can do this all goddamn day. We're not going to know. What matters at the end of the day is, I think you and I, something that we can both agree with, is if the White Sox win, that's a good day. If the White Sox lose, that's a bad day.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right on that. And I agree with it. And like I said, I just aired out my irritation with the whole thing. And I'll continue to do that. As somebody, I mean, again, I don't like to relate it to 9 to 5. I'm in a managerial position. I've been so since I was a fucking 20-year-old guy.
So I'll ask you a question real quick.
Go ahead.
So, if you're a manager and you've got a guy that comes up and it's his third week on the job, and you tell him to do something that he doesn't agree with, and he just blatantly disregards you.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about anything that happened on the field. You got a guy who's been working on the job for about a month. It's his first time here, and he blatantly disregards you, and your whole entire team rewards him for it. What are your first thoughts as a leader there?
What are my first thoughts as a leader? Well,
yeah,
you disobeyed what I said. I'm going to have a conversation with you. I can give two fucks about what the team has to say. I'm going to handle it myself, and that's it. But I'm also not going to air it out for all of his coworkers or teammates, whatever the fuck you want to call it, to know what's going on. They can have their opinions. That's fine. I don't give a fuck about people's opinions. I never have. I never will. I don't give a shit. But
so you are more pissed off. I'm just trying to gauge where you're at, because this is the first time we've had this discussion. So again, I'm just gauging where you're at. You're okay with Tony La Russa having a conversation with Yerman Mercedes.
Yeah.
But you are not okay with it being a public spectacle, is what you're going at.
Right, because I feel like it takes away from the magic of the team. And that's what irritates me. Do I agree with Tony La Russa? Absolutely fucking not. If I'm the man, swing. Fucking get it out of here. Step on their throats. Show them we're here to, live up to the mantra. We're here to change the fucking game. We're here to be this team that is not only talented, but marketable and successful. And we are going to make baseball like you said, steal your word, a spectacle. We're going to make baseball popular because we're going to have exciting games. We're going to have fun on the field. That's what we're going to do. So I'm not going to go completely against the fucking grain. I'm going to learn to adapt.
So I'm going to just, put a little spin zone type thing on here, Buzz. Maybe it might not be it might not be, tinfoil hat theory. But here we are as baseball fans discussing this, and you've got a lot of people who are checking into this story because it's relevant. And if you want to erase all the unwritten rules in baseball and let everybody bat flip and there not be repercussions for it, and it's just fine to do all of it, and we all agree that, if you throw a position player out there and he throws the ball and you hit it 400 feet, that's just fine. And the Twins aren't pissed off about it. What's driving the energy for you to want to fucking have these discussions right now? I think that the unwritten rule debate might be a great thing for baseball because you've got more people tuned in right now. I saw it when we started this stream. There were more people in here than we normally have for a loss because they want to hear this talk. They want to hear people talk about this. They want there to be debate. Why do you watch UFC? Because you want to see two dudes beat the shit out of each other. You want there to be conflict. We as humans want there to be conflict. That's what draws entertainment. That's the purpose of sport. You go back to the gladiator days, you wanted to see people kill each other. We're still humans. That's still in our nature. The ability to have debates like this is good. It's healthy. It's great for the sport. And when you have differing opinions, that just drives that type of discussion, this type of rivalry. So, you want that rivalry back in sports. Some of those unwritten rules and throwing at players and all this other stuff, whether it's good for the health of people, whether it's good for anything, some of that unknown, you go back to hockey, man. Like, you have a cheap shot in the game before. The unwritten rule is there's going to be a line brawl. And that's what people tune into because they want to see it.
And that's fine. I'm not worried about, driving in for the White Sox views or whatever like that. I'm sure that's going to happen. You're right. People are going to tune into that. It is all it is. I'm not really worried about any of what the Twins' feelings are on that. I'm worried more so about a manager having their players back and not creating, again,
how do you, I'll go back to too. You don't know if Tony La Russa had Yerman's back or not. You don't know if this is public spectacle.
You're right. You're right. I don't know that. I know how it's perceived, and I know what's being talked about. Instead of the success of the team, it's fucking scrutiny around it. And that's annoying as a White Sox fan, at least to me. That is my opinion. I don't give a fuck what Rocco
Tinfoil hat time. Jerry operates under any press is good press.
I'm sure he does, and that's fucking fine. But I mean, if this is a whole conspiracy theory to drive in fucking rating, I will put that past Jerry fucking immediately. I don't believe that for a hot second because he is.
Oh, I'm not saying he's the one behind it all. Well, I'm not saying that Jerry's the one behind it all. But I guess hot take here. Give me more unwritten rules that players can break, and we can have these discussions that are hard for people to talk about. Because that's what's entertaining. So the more times you have this type of stuff going on, and I'm not saying that anybody's in the right or anybody's in the wrong, but give me this type of talk around sports so we can get to the matters, the matters that actually mean something to people.
For us,
because it's going to drive that conversation. For everybody, anybody who's a fan of the game.
I mean, for people like you and I that love to talk about this and to have debates on it, or just to have cordial conversations about it, whether you agree or whether you don't agree, whatever, that's fine. It's the constant negative narrative that I hate the most. And that's the point that I'm trying to drive to you.
I understand that. I'm trying to take this and spin a positive out of it.
Well, I know. I see.
I'm trying to take this and spin a positive out of it. This is great discussion for baseball. This is a storyline that we're going to follow. Whether or not anybody's in the right or wrong, this is good for the game. It encourages discussion. It encourages people to voice their opinions on things, and I think that that's healthy. If everybody just agreed that it's fine for Yerman Mercedes to do that, this is a non-issue. We don't have this discussion.
Well, right, and that's totally fair. But this is where it gets interesting, even more interesting than it did before. We already talked about the likes from Evan Marshall, Tim Anderson backing him on social media, Yermin Mercedes, that is. And then you go into tonight when he gets thrown behind, the pitch goes behind him from Duffy, right? After the game, Tony La Russa's asked about it. He sees nothing wrong with it. Okay. Well, if you went to deflect the heat off of Yermin by making the statements, which we could go, he didn't say he was doing that, but that is something that you can imply or suggest, and that's fair. It didn't fucking work because Jagoff missed him, threw behind him, and he's all right with that. Man, pick a fucking lane on where you're at.
I think that some people misread that, honestly. I think that, Tony La Russa goes out and tries to deflect. So, no, I think that, you can't sit there and say that, Tony La Russa tried to go and deflect Yerman Mercedes from trying to get thrown that. No, I know it's possible. But I just think that, as soon as that was said, everybody wanted to go again and jump down Tony La Russa's throat and be like, oh, well, he tried to deflect this, and that's the only argument, and it still happened. Well, Tony La Russa's not on the fucking mound. He can't throw the fucking ball at Yerman Mercedes. He can do his best to protect his guy. And you want to sit there and say, I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. You can sit there and say that Tony La Russa tried to, stave off, Tim Anderson or any player from getting hit, but he wasn't on the mound trying to throw the ball. I see the tweet from Trevor Plouffe coming out there saying, oh, the Twins guys weren't so fucking worried about anything. The clubhouse temperature's great. They're not worried about all this. Why did they feel the need to throw at him? Because they obviously were bothered.
There's multiple tweets.
If the Twins were bothered by it and then tried to play coy and stay silent about it, why did they throw behind him? So if Tony La Russa was so wrong this whole time, explain to me why he went out there and tried to defend his guys And then everybody on social media who was in this, Tony Russo's so wrong camp tried to say that like, oh, no, the Twins weren't even bothered by this. And then all of a sudden you get them throwing behind it. Well, of course, Tony Russo is going to come to the media and say, well, yeah, I'm fine with the way they handled it. He'd probably handle it the same way. He's old school. That's Tony being Tony. He knows that type of game. And obviously Rocco Baldelli was stupid enough, or not stupid enough, had the same mindset to say, hey, go out there and throw at your mean Mercedes, because that had to have been ordered. That's the order of operations with this shit. The managers do control that. I had a long conversation with Ozzie Guillen Jr. tonight. We knew the whole thing was going to happen. But
everybody with a brain knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, the easiest point of attack is to sit there and say, well, Tony La Russa couldn't even defend it. He's not a good diplomat. Well, of course he's going to go out there and apologize, and people wanted to say he was lame and weak for it. I agree. I wouldn't want that shit public. If that's a conversation behind closed doors, that's fine. Don't go out there and say you did it. That's a little weird to me. But if you want to go over to Rocco Baldelli after the game in the parking lot and say, hey, man, I'm sorry that Yerman did that. Long game. You know that the White Sox have been, subpar to the Twins for so long, and this was a good moment from our team. These are two men. These are two men that played the game. They can exchange words and be fine with it. Tony Russo doesn't have to go to the media and be like, oh, I apologize and say that shit. That's a whole different discussion. No, but people are not able to separate the two, and that's the problem. People aren't able to separate that Tony did some stupid shit by saying some things, but he was also still looking out for his guys if he did that, and that was the actual intentions. Again, this is all assumptions. So we could sit here and play both of these, but the easier route to take in this whole discussion, because Tony La Russa is enemy number one, is that, well, he just made every wrong move. You can be a leader in trying to do things to better your team and go about things. And I just want to give him that same fair card on the other side of this, is that like, hey, man, like maybe he was just trying to save Yerman Mercedes from getting hit in the ass. That's maybe very possible.
It's definitely possible. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. But this is where I start like losing my shit about it a little bit, because again, I look at him and I go, okay, all this whirlwind started now. He needs to understand today's day and age. Number one, he doesn't have to care about it. The Sox are in first place. They're fucking rolling. They lost tonight, but they're fucking rolling. We touched on the game a little bit, but I mean, let's be honest. It's the fucking storyline here.
I'll go back. I'm more concerned that the Sox didn't give a hellacious effort and win the game tonight.
Right. That's what I hate the most too. We lost because I really wanted that. I want another sweep against Minnesota. We're not going to get it, but whatever. We can still win the series. We'll get into that in a little bit. But again, the fucking spectacle that was made out of everything with all of this. Then he comes out, he says he's okay with it. It's just like, goddamn, dude. And going to Rocco Baldelli, if you don't want Yermin to crush a fucking 400-foot home run, don't put a position player in to fucking pitch and punt the fucking game. Fuck you. That's your fault. And if you want to throw at me, I'll start a whole new school type thing. I don't know. This is just me being aggressive and being stupid about it. But okay, you have your unwritten rules. That's fine. I hit the home run because you punted the fucking game. The next day you're going to throw at me. Guess what, motherfucker? I have a bat. You have a ball. Fuck you.
I don't even care about that. You know what I love about this game? If you want to throw at me, take your base. Well, if the stat guys sit there and say, I love him because he gets on base, hit that fucking home run, and then take a pitch the next day, wear it, and get on base. It's just going to up your OBP at the end of the day. Like, and that's where I disagree with the whole thing and the notion of all of this. You can hate Tony La Russa's decision on it, but you don't have to crucify him for standing up for his beliefs.
I want to get into that.
You don't have to crucify him for standing up for his beliefs, but you can also sit there and just the same way an employee can tell his manager, hey, this is a better way of doing things. You may not agree with it, and I think this is better for the organization. And sometimes an employee is going to overstep their manager, and it's going to be the best decision that ever happened, for the company, for the team, for whatever. That is fine. That is going to happen. And yeah, the manager is going to get dinged for that. And yeah, the employee is going to catch some flack for that. That is normal operations within any business, within anything it's an organization that has a leadership structure Sometimes the employee is going to make a decision or try and go over a manager's head and do something that they feel is beneficial. 100% behind Yerman Mercedes. Hit that fucking ball 10 miles.
Well,
Go get on base the next day and get hit. It's
fine. I
want
to touch in on your point.
It's better.
That you said you don't need to crucify him for bad decisions. Now, I've crucified Tony La Russa once on this show, and that was the smugness, and you and I talked about it, about the rule with the runner on second back at, I can't even remember what fucking series it is now. But you know what I'm talking about when we had Liam Hendricks on second base. You know, obvious, and then the steal with Lurie Garcia. I lost my shit with that because he didn't know the rule. Fegan brought it to him, and he was cocky about it. And when Nani and I were talking about it before we got on Postgame, he was like, well, I didn't know the rule either. I'm like, well, Johnny, luckily for you, you don't need to know the fucking rule because it's not your job. It's not your fucking job to know the rule, number one. But this circumstance with La Russa, I don't want Tony La Russa fired. I don't want any more fucking dumb shit that's a distraction. But I will scrutinize him or question
we can scrutinize
him if he's wrong.
I want to clarify something. I don't think that when you make mistakes, you shouldn't be crucified. If you make a huge mistake, you should be crucified. I feel that this matter is more of opinion and is a more it's a social opinion on the game of baseball.
But
it's not a
back to what you said before.
It's not a tactical decision,
right?
If you make a tactical decision that's on the field that affects the outcome of a ball game, that is up for discussion. When it comes to the overarching, I don't know what you want to call it, the overarching, state of baseball or the, whatever this is. I can't find the word for it. I've had a couple beers. Forgive me. The word will come at some point, Buzz. But when you want to talk about the game of baseball and old school versus new school and all this other stuff, these are deep-seated opinions in people's lives, what the game means to them, how it should be played, how it shouldn't be played. There is a reason that it was played that way when Tony La Russa was playing the game, and in his younger days, there's a reason the game's played the way it is now. Those are just different topics than who did I pinch run for? Who did I pinch hit for? Did I make a double switch on defense? How did I draw my lineup card up? Those are totally different discussions that that take place in totally different realms, at least to me.
They are. And again, what I was getting to is you have people where I said, I don't want La Russa fired because I don't want another spectacle. I don't want any more negative shit around the team because I just want to enjoy winning without all the dumbass fucking storylines, even though it makes compelling content. But I'd much rather be sitting here pounding fucking victory beers laughing because we're winning. That's what I want. People want to push their narratives. Going back to what you said in the beginning of the show. You have the people that hated Tony La Russa from the beginning. You have the people that supported him, or you have somebody like me that's in the middle, where I was irritated with the no due diligence within the interviewing process. Maybe someone blows you away. Maybe they don't blow you away. I don't fucking know. Give him the chance. But Jerry's mind was made up. He's the owner. He's the one with billions. It's his money. It's not mine. I don't have a fucking choice in the matter. But where I leave that is when he makes mistakes, it doesn't mean somebody wants him fired, or maybe somebody does, but in this circumstance with me, I don't want him fired. I don't want any of that. I want you to have your players' backs, and I want you to be smarter about it when you go to the press, because this world is driven by social media. And whether people love it or whether they fucking hate it, I find myself somewhere towards the latter most of the time. I just can't wrap my head around this because the White Sox PR, Tony La Russa himself is not a stupid fucking human being. He's made bad decisions in his life. I've made bad decisions in my life.
I respect you, Buzz. I respect you for saying that because there's a lot of people out there that want to just cast stones all over the place that have made bad decisions themselves on this one. And it's a very sensitive subject. I'm not trying to defend anything that he's done, but there is a certain sentiment here that I think you see as well. And I think we've all made bad decisions, whether that's, pinch hitting for somebody in the wrong spot or doing something that could put somebody's lives in danger. There are bad decisions that are made, and we're not going to condone any of that, but people make bad decisions. That's a human thing.
I'll never condone the things that he got put into light for.
Correct. I won't either.
With the DUI and all of that stuff. Like, we like to crack them, no doubt about it here on this show, but we usually do it in the comfort of our own home. Uber, whatever the fuck you got to do. Cool, fine, whatever. What I hate the most with this is when we're talking about a situation when it comes into baseball with him making a bad decision or him saying it's not right, he needs to learn the rules of the game, this shit like that. And then people will say, oh, well, you should know the rules of life. It's like, listen, man, I've made mistakes myself. And you know all about them. I've been open about them on the show. I've been open about it on Twitter. I've made some horrible fucking decisions until I straightened myself out. It's basically when I had kids is when I really straightened myself out. When it comes to baseball, I just want, with Tony La Russa, so I put all the shit that he did in the past and not related to baseball behind me, and I look at what the product is on the field and what's going on. Handle it behind closed doors. You know that this world is social media driven. Don't bring negative energy around the team to make us a laughingstock. Let people appreciate what this team has accomplished with, again, to your point that you made earlier, with missing 2 of your best players. We're down fucking 2.5 right now, if you want to say, because Abreu's out this series, and you're still finding ways to score and try to win games. That's what I want the focus to be. Take the Joe Girardi route. Get strong with the media member, because they'll bash you no matter what. But get strong with them. Be like, I'm not answering that fucking question. I'm not talking about it. I'm handling it because I'm the manager. I'm handling it. I'm not letting you turn my franchise into a joke. And that's more so than anything, whether it's unwritten rules or not. I agree with your Mercedes hitting the home run. They want to throw at him. Cool. That's an unwritten rule. That's fucking fine. Fuck you guys. We'll be back. Don't make it a joke. Don't make it a spectacle. And that is my biggest problem with Tony La Russa. Failure to learn, because it's happened on multiple occasions this year where we should be talking about a win or we should be breaking down a mistake and a loss, but we're talking about a fucking press conference. And that drives me nuts as a fan. That's my personal opinion. It might not be anybody else's. They might hate him for whatever reason they hate him for. They might be even more extreme than I am about this topic with the unwritten rules thing. You believe what you want to believe. You want to believe that a flying meatball is God? Then fucking believe it. That's fine. I don't care. Whatever you want to believe, that's fine. Don't make it a spectacle with negative energy surrounding everything, so the narrative isn't that the White Sox are whipping ass. It's like they're doing this in despite of their shitty ass manager. And that's the storyline, because when negative energy fills the air, I don't care what anybody says. I know we don't know what's happening in the fucking clubhouse, but we know what's happening in the media. And that's negative energy that will, I can't even fucking find the word. Eventually.
Dude, there's a lot of emotions coming out in this one. This might be the most emotional and just deep. This might be the deepest episode of Sox on Tap that we've ever had.
That negative energy to eventually, because that shit will infect somebody's mind, man. I've told you about the rail, like when I was there, that negative energy that, like, I think I'm a pretty strong-willed dude. Like, you can kick me while I'm down, I don't give a fuck. I'll get back up. At some point, though, in the trials,
anytime you have a negative energy or a toxic environment, it's a problem. I can agree with you right there.
It gets you, man. And that's something I don't want to happen to this team, because we're all human at the end of the day. Baseball is a game. We want them to win because it's our hobby. It's something we love. It's their jobs, obviously, but it's something that we love. I don't want the negative energy to just bite this team in the ass and be like, fuck, man. Well, this guy's saying this, and this is how we're perceived. And then it starts getting into weaker-minded players' heads where they stop performing.
So here's where I'm hopeful for this team, is that we are overreacting to all of this. And in the clubhouse, they walked in today, they were talking about it. The guys know that Tony La Russa has these feelings towards things. They don't agree with it, but it's fine. We'll move on. If Yerman Mercedes hits another 3-run bomb and gets thrown at, we'll go through this whole rigmarole again. But we can all agree at the end of the day that we're going to win. And I'm speaking for the players. Again, I'm making assumptions, and this is what I hope. I hope that the team is knowledgeable enough, and that Tony La Russa is knowledgeable enough. And again, we've said that Tony La Russa ain't a dumb guy. I don't think that Tim Anderson's a dumb guy. I don't think that any of these guys are dumb. I think that there is enough here and for what's gone on thus far during this season, for a lot of people who ride on the narrative that Tony La Russa is bad for the team because he's out of touch, because of all these things, I feel like there is a room to operate in the sense where they can respect what Tony La Russa is doing on the field, making the operational decisions that he's made, and they can disagree with the way he feels about the modern game of baseball. I feel like there is a gray area. And again, this is my hope, is that's where they're operating under, and that they've been operating under that same understanding this entire time. And this is no different. We've seen them succeed so far. I know tonight was a loss, and I think that stings more because of what's going on. But we could have been talking. We could have been talking about a win tonight. We still would be having these same discussions,
right?
But I think that there is a room to operate in this for the White Sox organization where they can agree that Tony La Russa has good opinions on baseball things that will help this team succeed. He also has bad opinions, and no manager is perfect. If this is Tony La Russa's flaw, that he doesn't like that Yerman Mercedes hits 3-0 pitches for bombs off of position players, if that is the worst thing that the White Sox have to deal with, is that their manager doesn't feel like you should step on your opponent's throat a little bit more. I understand where that can trigger some people, but if that's the worst thing that we have to deal with, outside of a couple bunts and some other things that any manager is going to do, if that's the worst thing we have to deal with as White Sox fans right now and have these hardcore discussions about baseball things, I'm okay with that. As a White Sox fan, I am okay with that being the worst thing, because I would rather have that than talking about a manager who doesn't know how to handle a bullpen at all, is hunched over in the third game of the play-in series, trying to get his team there just over the hump, and is completely out of his depth when it comes to that, or a former player for the organization trying his first time at manager in his career for a Major League Baseball team. I would rather have this. And I think that, the recency bias on this makes people a little bit more upset on it. But if you go back through a couple of our other former managers, there were more like baseball implication things that were a lot more suspect than what we're dealing with right now, especially when you look at the standings where we're at. Obviously, the rest of the season has to unfold. Could he be detrimental? Can I eat my words on this show? Stay tuned to find out. But I think where we're at right now, there were worse options that we could have went with that people would be a lot more upset about for actual reasons that are costing the team wins on the field than a little bit of discussion about what old school baseball and new school baseball meet heads and go toe-to-toe on pay-per-view.
That's fair. Like I said, don't want to beat a dead horse. Be smart. Try to keep the shit out of the media so that the narrative surrounding your team is about the play and not about this bullshit, because negative energy does affect shit. But that's where I'll leave it. And, that's all I got. I do want to get into like how this game ended a little bit. Bummer. Again, like I said, at the beginning of the show, was a real bummer. He didn't look so hot.
Rough. Yeah, just rough, dude.
Yeah, he looked rough. Hendricks ends up letting up that excuse me. He ends up letting up that hit, in its game, and it's over. So, the Sox end up losing 5-4 in the bottom of the ninth. Twins bullpen, who I thought we were going to kind of get to, we didn't. The Twins bullpen kind of beat the shit out of us. I think they only let up one hit up against us. And they did, actually. And they struck us out fucking 9 times, the Twins bullpen. So, hopefully they could rebound tomorrow. And going into tomorrow, it's an early game, Tone, and we're going to have Lucas.
That just means that Lucas Giolito is starting, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Lucas Giolito's on the mound. I actually did some stat diving the other day. I can't remember. I was having a conversation with Mac from Bad Guy Radio and Showtime Socks on Twitter. And we were talking about, Lucas Giolito day games. And I think he was like a 3.86 ERA and like 12 or 13 starts or something like that. Obviously he was shellacked in the Boston one. There was another one after that too, wasn't there, that he didn't look too good in, and now here we are. And he's going to be going up against Matt Shoemaker. Lucas is 2-4 with a 4.97 ERA this season, 41 and 2/3 innings pitched. He's let up 36 hits. He struck out 50. He's let up 8 long balls while walking 18. Shoemaker 2-4, 6.62 ERA, 34 innings pitched, 37 hits, 23 strikeouts, and 12 walks. He's let up 10 long balls. This game starts at 12:10 p.m. Central Time, so not a quick turnaround for the White Sox here. A quick turnaround for the White Sox here tomorrow. And then that's going to go into an off day on Thursday. So, hopefully the Sox come out and take the series. Hopefully Lucas Giolito drinks some coffee and he can get himself, in the game. And I know he said he tweeted out he's not a morning person. Well, it's time to either hit an energy drink or a coffee, my friend, because we're coming off a loss here after a good outing by Lance Lynn that unfortunately we couldn't capitalize on. Come out and get us the win.
I just hope he gets a good night's sleep. If he's up listening to this show, he's doing the wrong thing. That's all I've got to say.
There's a lot of negative energy.
lot of negative energy would not be good for Lucas Giolito's start tomorrow. You are all about that juju. But dude, I want to see a change in that narrative in particular. I think I have been rather harsh on Lucas Giolito on this show. I think I've been rather harsh on him his entire career. But sometimes you need a little bit of tough love to get yourself where you need to be. Let's see it, man. He's the ace of the staff. This is the perfect position to have him in. The club faces so much adversity. We're the national spectacle right now. Number 1 in the power rankings in the MLB. We haven't even touched on that one.
We do have a great article on that.
Yes, we do. We do have a great article on that on OnTapSportsBet.com. But I love this. I love the storylines, man. I'm a sucker for the drama because this shit should be a soap opera every single time. Lucas Giolito taking the mound tomorrow in a day game. It's not his forte. You've got all eyes right now are on the White Sox. For better or for worse, all eyes are on the White Sox right now. And you've got your ace on the mound. It's time to show it. It's time to show it tomorrow. And I hope that Lucas Giolito right now is sound asleep in his bed, dreaming happy thoughts of mowing down Minnesota Twins, because we know our guy NWI Steve wants nothing more than Lucas Giolito to just shove shit down their throats all day tomorrow. And that's what White Sox fans should be focused on right now, Buzz. Is Lucas Giolito having a dominant performance? I want 7 innings tomorrow, Buzz. I want the over and strikeouts to hit. I want the over. Let's take some overs tomorrow. Lucas Giolito over strikeouts. Bet Rivers. Let's do it. I think it can happen.
I hope it does. And if anybody's interested and you want to go bet at Bet Rivers, go to betrivers.com, use promo code on tap, and they will match up to $250 of your first deposit. So go check that out. I did feel like a hypocrite a little bit because as much as I say I hate the drama, which I do, how it keeps me up. Like we were sitting there texting after the show, like, oh my God.
Here's the thing.
I always find myself there.
I'm going to convert you real quick. Accept the drama in your life. Accept it, because these are the storylines that drive everything behind this. If it didn't have drama, if the baseball season did not have any drama to it, it would be boring as shit, and there'd be nothing to talk about, and we would not have just gone an hour long on a Sox on Tap post game.
Did we go an hour?
Yes, we are at an hour. So accept the fact the drama is necessary to drive anything in life. That's why people tune into shows. That's why movies are great. This is a movie. We're just dissecting it scene by scene. So
I just want to win.
Accept it. The wins come along the way. The drama is what gets talked about. And when you can overcome adversity, it's going to make it that much better when we're drinking a White Sox World Series victory beer, Buzz. That's what the goal is.
I need that. I need that. Like I need air to breathe. All right. Before we leave, shout outs. I have a shout out. I'll give you a minute. I know we've been picking those back up. I shout this guy out all the time, but I'm gonna shout him out again. He's getting married. Not this weekend, but next weekend, and that's Jordan Miller. So I want to shout out Jordan Miller, Alex Root as well.
Congrats to Jordan there.
Yeah, I want to shout out Jordan Miller and Alex Root as well. Just two awesome guys that I get to talk a lot of baseball with on a consistent basis. So I want to shout those guys out real quick. You got one?
Yeah, I'll shout out Duke Coughlin, one of our on tap guys. I've been texting back and forth with him throughout this game. I love some of the opinions. I think he's got a pretty good article coming up for ontapsportsnet.com as well.
Uh-oh.
Duke's a good baseball mind to talk to during some of these games. Trying to switch it up there. I know he's a football guy. You know, if we're gonna do some shameless plugs here, Bears on Tap, you can find him over there, given some of the same type of fire for the Chicago Bears stuff that we got going on at On Tap Sportsnet. So shout out Duke. I can't wait to see that thing released.
Absolutely. All right, picks to click, and then we'll ride on out here. Picks to click tomorrow. I'm going to actually go with Lucas Giolito. I know we don't pick pitchers very often, but I'm going to go Lucas Giolito tomorrow, man. I feel like all of this negative energy, hopefully he can harness it and turn it into positive energy, put that into his fastball, into his breaking ball, and make some good shit happen. So I'm going to go Lucas Giolito for my pick to click tomorrow. He's going to mow down the Twins.
So one thing I got to say before this, and I know Tony Twista hasn't been around in a little while, but I did talk to him today, and there is a chance that this thing gets rained out. So my first pick to click is Mother Nature for sparing us, because the White Sox need to play this game, especially for just the health and sanity of everybody in White Sox Twitter. This game today felt like it took forever to get to because of all of the discussion around some of this stuff. And the more games we play and the more games we win, this stuff will start to fade away. Winning does cure everything, and I think that that's something that you can agree with, Buds. The White Sox go on a 7-game winning streak after this. Nobody's going to fucking remember the Yerman Mercedes Tony La Russa spat, especially in the clubhouse, because the vibes are going to be great. The juju is going to be good, as you say. And if I want to put it in Johnny's term, levels is going to hit different if the White Sox go and rattle off 7 in a row after that. I can promise you that. We've seen it happen once already with this team. So, second pick to click. If I can't take Lucas Giolito because you already took him.
We'll put Mother Nature in parentheses.
Mother Nature.
Yeah.
But I want to see another big game out of Nick Madrigal. I'm becoming a very big Nick Madrigal fan.
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm becoming a very big Nick Madrigal fan. And if I do just want to go to Sox on Tap confessions here for just a little while, I didn't like the draft pick, but I like Nick Madrigal as a ball player. I can relate to him. I was a second baseman. I wore number 1 because I was always the smallest guy on the team. I couldn't hit for power. I've never hit a ball over the fence. White Sox Twitter, come roast me alive. But I hit for contact, and that was my game when I played baseball. So closet Nick Madrigal guy, but you got to stick with some of your takes. I don't think that was a great draft pick, but I love Nick Madrigal as a player. So I'm going Nicky Sticks tomorrow. I'm joining the club. Let's go. I love seeing him hitting his first home run. It had to be a great moment for him. And some of that got lost. And I want to just take the time to talk about it. Some of the Nick Madrigal hitting his first career home run has been completely lost in all of this. And I thought that when Nick Madrigal hit his first major league career home run, it would be the talk of the town for weeks. And I feel bad for Nick Madrigal because he should be celebrated for what he's done this series and so far this season.
Yeah, totally fair. Well, I mean, you got anything else, man? Or are we ready to ride out here?
I've got nothing else. I just got to finish this beer, and then it's time for bed, and we'll do this all again tomorrow.
Absolutely. Everybody be sure you're going to ontapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. Following us on Twitter at Sox on Tap, at OnTapSportsNet. 5-star rating and review anywhere you can listen to podcasts. You can listen to us. Check out Grandstand. If you're at the ballpark, stop by Grandstand, or go to grandstandsox.com. Follow them on socials at Grandstand Sox to get all your White Sox gear there. We'll be back tomorrow, weather permitting. If the White Sox get this game in against the Twins, White Sox forever.
White Sox forever, Buzz. Cheers.